Maria is my best friend, and we joined the same English class about a year ago. From the very first day, I noticed her vibrant energy. She walked into class with a bright smile, a fresh notebook ready to be filled, and an excitement that was truly contagious. During introductions, she confidently told the teacher and the rest of the class that her goal was to become fluent in English. She wanted to travel the world, watch movies without subtitles, and make friends from all over. I remember thinking, wow, this girl has so much determination. She's going to be amazing at this. At first, Maria exceeded all expectations. She threw herself into her studies with remarkable dedication. She stayed after class to ask questions, filled her notebook with lists of vocabulary words and grammar rules, and even practiced speaking English to herself in front of the mirror. One day, she laughed and admitted to me, "I don't care how silly I look. I just want to feel confident when I speak." Her enthusiasm was inspiring, and it seemed like nothing could stop her. However, after a few weeks, I noticed a change. Maria wasn't as enthusiastic as she had been before. She no longer volunteered to answer questions in class and seemed quieter than usual. It was as if her bright spark had dimmed. I grew concerned and decided to talk to her. One day after class, I waited for her outside and gently asked, "Maria, are you okay? You don't seem like yourself lately." She sighed deeply before admitting, "I don't know what's wrong with me. I study so much, but when I try to speak, I forget everything. It's like my brain just stops working. I feel like I'll never get better." Hearing her say this broke my heart. I reassured her, "Maria, you're not alone. This happens to everyone learning a new language. Let's talk to the teacher together. Maybe she can help." Maria agreed, and after the next class, we stayed behind to speak with our teacher. The teacher listened patiently as Maria explained her struggles. Then, with a kind smile, she said something that stayed with both of us. "Maria, forgetting words doesn't mean you're failing. It means your brain is still processing what you're learning. Let's try a new approach together." The teacher turned to Maria and asked, "What do you like to talk about? What makes you happy?" Maria thought for a moment and answered, "I love cooking. It's my favorite thing to do at home. I also really enjoy watching romantic comedies, they always make me smile." The teacher's smile widened. "That's wonderful. Learning English should be fun and connected to the things you love. Let's start with cooking and movies. It will make the process easier and more enjoyable." Maria's first assignment was simple. The teacher said, "Write down all the English words you know about cooking and romantic comedies." That evening, Maria sat at her kitchen table and began brainstorming. She looked around at the tools and ingredients she used every day. She also thought about her favorite romantic comedies and the words that came to mind. Slowly, she built her list: recipe, oven, pasta, vegetables, chef, subtitles, funny, love, and many more. The next day, Maria shared her list with the teacher, who praised her for her effort. "This is a great start, Maria. Now let's take it a step further. Write sentences using these words. For example, instead of just writing oven, you could write, I bake bread in the oven. This will help you practice using the words in context." Maria liked this idea. That evening, she sat down with her list and began creating sentences. "I cook pasta with cheese. I like movies with subtitles." Each sentence she wrote made her feel a little more confident. For the first time in weeks, studying didn't feel like a chore. It felt fun and rewarding because she was learning English by focusing on things she loved. As Maria grew more comfortable, our teacher introduced another activity. "Think about the conversations you might have about cooking or movies," she suggested. "Write those conversations and practice saying them out loud. Inspired, Maria began writing simple dialogues. For example, she wrote, "What's your favorite dish? I love making pasta." These small, practical exercises made a big difference. Over time, Maria's confidence returned. She started participating more in class again, and her bright energy came back. Learning English became less about memorizing rules and more about expressing herself through the topics she was passionate about. Watching Maria overcome her struggles taught me an important lesson about language learning. It's not just about hard work and repetition, it's about connecting with what makes you happy. By focusing on her love for cooking and romantic comedies, Maria rediscovered her joy and built the confidence to keep improving. And as her best friend, I couldn't have been prouder. At first, Maria felt shy about practicing English sentences aloud. One day, while practicing, she said, "It feels strange to talk to myself." I smiled and encouraged her, "Pretend you're talking to me. We can practice together." After class, we began practicing simple dialogues. I would ask her questions, such as, "What ingredients do you need?" And Maria would reply, "I need tomatoes, garlic, and olive oil." At first, her answers were hesitant, but with time, her confidence grew. The more we practiced, the more comfortable Maria became. One day, she told me excitedly, "When I'm cooking at home, I imagine someone asking me questions in English. I practice answering them while I cook. It feels like a real conversation." This simple habit transformed her learning experience. She no longer felt limited by the classroom environment. Maria began incorporating English into her everyday life. Whether she was cooking or watching a movie, she imagined people asking her questions in English and practiced responding confidently. Gradually, speaking English started to feel more natural, and Maria discovered how much she enjoyed the process. Initially, Maria believed that learning a language required memorizing as many new words as possible every day. She once told me, "I'm going to learn 50 new words every day. The more words I know, the faster I'll become fluent." I was surprised and asked, "Maria, are you sure that won't be too much?" She laughed and said, "I have to try. I want to learn quickly." However, her enthusiasm soon led to frustration. After just 1 week, Maria looked exhausted. She admitted, "I can't remember most of the words I'm trying to learn. I feel like I'm not good at this." Concerned, I shared her struggles with our teacher, who provided valuable advice. "Maria," the teacher said gently, "fluency isn't about learning as many words as you can. It's about using the words you know effectively. Start with 5 new words a day. Use them in sentences, say them out loud, and review them often. That will help you remember them better." Maria decided to follow this advice. She began choosing 5 new words each day and making simple sentences to practice them. For example, if she learned the word knife, she would say, "I cut vegetables with a knife." If she learned the word funny, she'd say, "This movie is funny." She repeated these sentences several times throughout the day. To her surprise, this new method worked. By focusing on fewer words, Maria found it easier to retain them. Her vocabulary grew steadily, and studying became less overwhelming. Little by little, Maria felt more confident using her expanding vocabulary in conversations. One day in class, Maria was speaking but suddenly forgot the word apple. She looked frustrated and flustered. Noticing her struggle, our teacher smiled and said, "Maria, let's make this fun. Draw a picture of an apple in your notebook, write the word next to it, and then create a sentence, like, I eat an apple every day." Maria raised her eyebrows and laughed. Really? Draw pictures? She asked, surprised. The teacher nodded. Yes, give it a try, it might help you remember. Though skeptical at first, Maria decided to follow the suggestion. She drew a simple apple, wrote the word beside it, and added the sentence. Later, she told me, this is actually helping. When I think of a word, I see the picture in my head. It's easier to remember now. From that day on, Maria used this technique for every new word she learned. If she learned the word carrot, she would draw a small carrot, write the word beside it, and add a sentence like, I eat carrots with my lunch. If she learned the word movie, she'd draw a tiny TV screen and write, I watch movies on weekends. Her notebook quickly became filled with colorful doodles and sentences. Maria enjoyed studying this way because it made the process feel creative and fun. It also turned her notebook into a visual dictionary she could easily reference. Over time, her confidence soared. By combining dialogue practice, focused vocabulary building, and creative learning strategies like drawing, Maria not only improved her English but also rediscovered the joy of learning. Maria's journey taught me and everyone around her an important lesson. Learning a language isn't just about memorization or perfection. It's about making the process enjoyable and finding methods that work for you. Maria's determination, creativity, and willingness to adapt turned her challenges into successes. Watching her grow reminded me that the best way to learn is to embrace the process, step by step, and celebrate every small victory along the way. Maria's journey of learning English became an inspiring tale of determination, creativity, and progress. She discovered early on that making the process enjoyable and personalized could transform her struggles into successes. One of the most effective tools she developed was using pictures and sentences to learn new words. Whenever she came across a new word, she would draw a simple illustration of it, write the word beside the drawing, and create a sentence using the word. This approach turned her notebook into a vibrant collection of doodles and sentences that not only helped her remember words but also made studying feel less like a chore. It quickly became her favorite method for learning English. Every time she opened her notebook, the colorful drawings made her smile, reminding her of how far she had come. This visual approach made a significant difference, and Maria realized that learning could be both effective and fun. Encouraged by her progress, Maria made a promise to herself: she would practice speaking English every single day. She didn't wait for someone to initiate a conversation. Instead, she created her own opportunities. Whether she was cooking, cleaning, or walking to the store, she would talk to herself in English. It feels silly sometimes, she admitted, but it works. This daily habit helped her become more comfortable with speaking. It allowed her to practice without fear of judgment, building her confidence step by step. Maria also incorporated English into her entertainment. She started watching English movies and TV shows with subtitles to help her understand the dialogue. After a few weeks, she challenged herself by turning off the subtitles, focusing on listening carefully and picking up new words and phrases. This immersion helped her improve her listening skills and gave her a better sense of how the language sounded in natural conversations. Determined to refine her speaking skills further, Maria began recording herself. She would talk about her day, describe her favorite foods, or summarize the plot of a movie she had watched. Then, she listened to the recordings to analyze her pronunciation and sentence structure. This practice helped her identify areas where she needed to improve. One day, she shared one of these recordings with me. In it, she described her favorite movie in English. I was amazed. "Maria, you sound so confident," I said, truly impressed. She smiled and replied, "I still make mistakes, but I feel better when I hear how much I've improved." Her consistent practice with speaking, listening, and recording had a noticeable impact on her fluency and confidence. Over time, Maria's promise to practice every day became a habit. It wasn't always easy, there were moments of frustration and self-doubt, but her persistence paid off. Little by little, she grew more comfortable speaking English. One of the most important lessons Maria learned along the way was to celebrate her progress, no matter how small. I remember a day in class when she used the word ingredients correctly in a sentence. The teacher clapped and said, "Maria, that was perfect." Maria laughed and said, "It's just one word." The teacher replied, "Every word you learn is a step closer to fluency. Be proud of yourself." That moment shifted Maria's perspective. She began celebrating every small victory, realizing that progress wasn't always about grand achievements, it was the accumulation of little steps that made the difference. After months of hard work, Maria had her first real conversation in English. She attended a party where people were speaking English and someone asked her, "What's your favorite dish?" Maria took a deep breath and answered, "I love making pasta. I use tomatoes, garlic, and olive oil." When she told me about it later, her face lit up with pride. They understood me. I forgot a few words, but I didn't stop. I just kept talking. I hugged her and said, "Maria, you did it. This is what fluency is all about, not being perfect but being confident." Maria's journey taught me and others around her so much about patience, persistence, and the power of small steps. She proved that learning a language isn't about memorizing endless lists of vocabulary or avoiding mistakes, it's about embracing the process, finding joy in the journey, and celebrating every bit of progress along the way. Her story reminds us all that it's okay to forget words and make mistakes. What matters most is the determination to keep going. So, what about you? Have you ever felt like Maria, struggling to learn something new but finding ways to push through? Share your story in the comments below, and if you found Maria's story inspiring, don't forget to like and subscribe for more uplifting tales like this one.